Hey there, Chucklefucks. It's your boy, Dark Reku here with a new What If. Now, of course, I was going to upload what's it called? What if Issei basically was a serpent? Problem is why I didn't upload it or why I didn't record it is because well, I thought of this one. Literally just thought of this one before recording that one and before doing another thumbnail of another What If. But that What If is going to contain 3 webtoon characters, and they are the big 3 for me. I don't know if people have like the big 3 for different webtoons, but they're big 3 for me because they were like most of the original kind of webtoons I ever read. 2 of them already ended. One of them is kind of like continuing. I think it's probably going to end, but I think it's right now on pause by the creator. But of course, these 3 webtoon characters are mostly like the big 3 for me. Like the big 3 that I just love, and the fact that it's sad that it ended like about a year ago, but yeah. But not the point. It ended a couple of months. Well, one ended, yeah, a couple of months ago, and another ended before that, a couple also months. But not the point. So, those are mostly, okay. I will tell you some of the webtoon character features. One has red hair, one is kind of close to a mythical kind of, mythology. And the other one is basically going up a tower. Now, if you understand what those are, well, one has red hair and kind of golden armor. But if you know who they are, then you know exactly which 3 webtoon characters I'm going to add into Issei having, or being the reincarnation of. But not the point. Let me continue back into the What If, and let me shut the fuck up. But if you know which one I'm talking about, then he's gonna be broken. But if you don't know, well shit, good luck with that. But not the point. Let me go into this What If. This is called What If Issei was neglected, betrayed, and cheated on. Actually, should I? Fuck it. Okay, whatever the fuck I named it, yeah, you get the point. I don't really think of the title thumbnail. I think of straight up the story. Let me alone, okay? I thought of the What If. I never thought of the actual name about it. So, basically, if you understand where this is going to go, and why there's a Shigaraki picture, then you know I didn't really do the thumbnail, and I got kind of lazy. And instead, got a fucking screenshot and said, yeah, I'm kind of getting a little lazy. But not the point. So, yeah, he is going to have some of the powers of Shigaraki. And if you're thinking, is he going to have, like, Shigaraki's all-for-one abilities? If I can remember right, I think that's what it's called. Yes, maybe? Well, yes, mostly. But not the point. He is going to have that. Is heroes going to be in this world? No. Well, I mean, the hero faction, but yeah, but they won't have quirks. Also, before anyone asks me to do a What If Issei had Deku or any of the other heroes from My Hero Academia, fuck you, I'm about to slap the shit out of you. I hate the Hero Society in that one. The only thing I like about My Hero Academia is the villains. The heroes, I don't give a fuck. Well, mostly the one hero I like is Aizawa. That's just because it reminds me of Batman. Or like a kind of anti-hero. But yeah, because he beat the shit out of them using these hands. But yeah, Deku's too much of a crybaby. That's why I don't fucking like him. But yeah, he cries too damn much. Like, shut the fuck up for the love of fucking God. Before I come in there and bitch smack you. Ah. But not the point. I know some people are getting angry saying, why don't you like Deku? Shut the fuck up. I barely even like My Hero Academia. So shut the fuck up. Get your gay ass. Yes, get your gay. Okay, never mind. But let me go into this What If and let me shut the fuck up. But yeah. So we go into mostly Issei. Issei has just finally kind of, got out of, mostly the fight between Cyborg and him. Now, of course, this is where, actually, not Cyborg. Mostly, no. I haven't got into the manga too much, but I've been watching too many What Ifs, and I think there's something called 6 Trihexa or something like that. And never mind. But of course, what's it called? Don't worry, I've just been lazy. I was reading the manga for a while until I was bothered the whole day So yeah, not the point. I'm rambling on way too damn much. Pretty much, Issei is, well, mostly in his kind of like junior year of school. Of course, this is where Rias and Akano Terere went to college, Kuo College and other things. Also Sona and the others, but yeah. This is where, well, the ORC is basically taken over by Azia and, yeah, the other girls. Issei and Kiba has been good friends for a while, but yeah. Of course, this is where, well, Issei has kind of, well, been kind of like trying to get his grades up a little bit, even though he really sucks at it. He's not that smart. He's not that physically strong. He pretty much sucks. But of course, he stopped hanging out with what's it called, Matsui, and what's it called, Morohamo. After a while, well, they became into a senior year or whatever. There's only 3 years, right? There's only like freshman, sophomore, and then senior or junior. I don't fucking give a shit. But I think in that timeline, there's only like those. Even though in the original American schools, there's like freshman, junior, and, well, not freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. But yeah, I think there was only 3 years for the Kuo Academy High School. But yeah, but whatever. Of course, this is where Issei, he's right now kind of like talking to Kiba before they're going towards the ORC. Now, of course, Issei is talking to him saying, what do you think what's it called Rias is going to talk about? I heard she just came towards the school. Israel Kiba says, don't know. I have done a couple of contracts. Not much, but yeah. This is where Issei says, I have tried to also do contracts, but pretty much my contracts really suck and I barely got any contracts. I've just been hanging out with mostly the contract users and got along with them. That's where, well, Kiba says, well, yeah. So, let's see what they want. This is where Issei says, yeah, let's go. This is where, well, they kind of go inside, and of course, where the atmosphere feels a little bit dead, or anger. For some reason, Issei can feel this, and even Kiba. Like, you can literally just get a knife and cut the fucking atmosphere, and it's so thick that you can see it. That's where Issei's confused. Kiba did kind of, well, sense what's it called inside before walking. There was a happy, cheerful kind of atmosphere, but when they walk in, it was thick. This is where, well, Kiba was confused. This is where, well, Rias and Akano were just kind of glancing at, well, the new president of the ORC, and that is none other than Azia. And of course, what's it called, her assistants will be, Irina. Of course, there's what's it called, Exonia, and also whatever her goddamn, okay, you want Exonia, Xenia, whatever her goddamn name is, and of course, then there's Koneko. That's where, well, also, well, Gasper isn't there. He kind of went somewhere to kind of deal with something. Also, Russell White is kind of back into the Norse mythology, kind of dealing with stuff, but yeah. But of course, where, well, they are confused, mostly Issei and Kiba. Kiba's trying to wonder what the hell did he do, and Issei also is trying to think. This is where, well, Akano and Rias mostly were about to leave, but this is where Rias tells Kiba that he needs to do more contracts because Issei can't really do them. This is where, well, Kiba says, yeah, he's going to have to fix this, what's it called, schedule, but yeah. This is where Issei was confused because, yes, he might have sucked at doing contracts, but seriously, do you really have to make, well, mostly Issei thinks in his head, why the hell what? Really, you have to be that harsh? He thinks in his head, but this is where, well, he then tried to talk to the other girls, but the other girls say, sorry, Issei, but you need to get out, blah, 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 after what Rias and Akano kind of left. This is where Issei is confused. This is where, well, he kind of glanced at Kiba, and Kiba had to kind of figure out what his, what's it called, schedule, because it's going to be much more tougher. This is where Issei kind of, well, went towards him to see if he wanted help, or try to help him out. Or maybe try to assist him, because he might suck at contracts, but did, like, give him something. Trying not to make his kind of best friend stress out. This is where Kiba says, no, I'll be fine. Issei says, okay. This is where Issei still tries to talk with some of the girls, but of course, Irina kind of scorned to go away. Xenia tell him to go away, pervert. This is where Koneko legit almost threw a huge, well, boulder at him if he got anywhere near. When he tries to talk to Ralph, Ralph will kind of just like a noble princess when the first time they met, but yeah. And of course, mostly when he tried to talk to Ozzy, Ozzy kind of just scorned him also away. Issei was confused. He was really confused. The girl's been acting weird for a couple of, weeks for some reason. Well, not even weeks. It's been about like a week ago when they've been acting kind of weird. Issei didn't understand, but he tries to kind of go towards where Rias and what's it called Akano would be at. Mostly at the college. He thought of a great idea to try to talk to them. Because when he kind of saw them, they were kind of dead to him. Like if he didn't exist in the first place. Issei was confused, but he decides to kind of get to the college. This is where Drake wakes up and says, "Oh, so partner, what's happening?" Issei says, "I'm going to go talk to Rias and Akano. They've been acting so weird. I haven't seen them for over, a couple of months since, college started, but it started all a week ago since, about some stuff, I don't know." This is where, Drake says, "I kind of have a bad feeling." Issei says, "Don't be like that, Dragon. I know that I did kind of fuck your, mostly reputation, but you don't need to be so mean." This is where Drake says, "No, that's not what I'm talking about." This is where Issei says, "Don't worry, I got this. There's nothing that will ever be able to phase me." This is where Issei, he's getting towards mostly the college. There's like, he just has to get through the park and just kind of rush towards the college and other things. This is where, he kind of managed to get towards a gate that was kind of open. Pretty much, Issei managed to kind of slip in. And of course, there was no one out here because it seems to be like the afternoon. And Issei kind of just walked through, kind of finding, Akano and Rias and where they would be at. Mostly, he managed to find them, going up to a, place. Of course, he kind of managed to open the door before it closed. He managed to poke it one finger and stop it from actually fully closing because it was just a metal steel door that you can barely get inside if you don't have like an ID or whatever. This is where he managed to poke it, and this is where he looks up to see where they're going because they're going up in the stairs. This is where Issei follows them, but trying to hide his presence and try to be really sneaky. This is where Issei kind of sees that they went into a room, and Issei went to kind of check on them. But yeah, this is where Issei was confused. He went into, before the door actually fully closed, he managed to kind of put his finger once. And of course, no one else notices, but of course, where Issei looks inside and sees a, kind of bluish hair person with this kind of like smug kind of look. But of course, this is where he also had kind of these glasses with these kind of yellowish eyes. He was kind of like smiling and having a smug look, as was called a greedy look, at Akano and Rias, and of course they were basically on top of him. Of course, where Issei was confused and shocked and horrified is where, Drake was also horrified because the fuck, he had a bad feeling, but he didn't want to like ruin his suspicions about his partner. He wanted to talk to them, but of course Issei was kind of sneaking around. And so where, Issei kind of sees this, and of course where they've been just making out with the person. And of course, the person had this really grinful look and other things. This is where Issei right now feels his heart kind of shatter. This is where he said, "What?" Now, of course, they are, in Issei's words, they are kind of dating because this happened after Sir Orcus and his battle and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. This is where Issei sees them just making out with another dude. Even though it's been a couple months, yes, they haven't really been dating that great because school and college and yeah. But of course, this is where Issei is just horrified to see, Akano and, Rias kind of kissing another man. And of course, they're right now like pressing their kind of assets into this person. This person is grinning like a madman. And of course, they were talking smack about Issei in the room. And of course, Issei, he was already kind of dead with his eyes, but he felt his heart being stomped. Literally feeling like it's being just stomped to the ground, crushed, just smothered into the ground. But yeah, this is where Issei hears that from Akano. "Yeah, you're actually much more amazing." She kind of say his name to be, what the hell should I call him? You know what? Since I don't really like this character from My Hero Academia, let's call him Deku then, or also known as Izuku, whatever. I think his name Izuku. Fuck it. But of course, they say you're much more better, Izuku, than our stupid, someone such a perverted asshole. Only thought of us as just a piece of meat, and this is where Issei said, but I didn't. He thinks in his head. He never really thought of them as a piece of meat. He just acted kind of perverted because he still had that whole feeling with Rainier and being a first girlfriend. He's still very scared of females, and he thought that he can rely on these friends to help him out with that shit. But yeah, this is where Rio says, yeah, the stupid pervert didn't really care about our feelings, and when I admitted to him, he didn't respond back. Issei said in his head, well, Drake said in his head, bitch, dude, what the fuck do you mean admitted to him? He literally had to kind of tell your name after you're physically traumatized him. The fuck do you mean, you stupid bitch? Drake is right now pissed and just right now angry. But of course, you can see his partner is unable to talk. This is where, they're right now just talking smack, and this is where Issei, he starts kind of walking because he feels his heart shatter. And of course, Drake is telling him to go because he feels like something is corrupting him or hurting his body. And this is where, Issei starts walking, but of course, he feels weak. And this is where, Issei, he tries to get down the stairs. Of course, falling. He legit just trip and start falling down. But of course, Issei is trying to get out. He managed to get out after getting up, and this is where he's going out of the school, opening the door and kind of getting into school. This is where the door closes behind him, and of course it shuts. And this is where Issei, he sees the gate, opens it, and of course mostly just pushes it and then walks out. Issei is really tired. He keeps just walking through this trail because there was a trail, and of course this is where Issei gets to the park, lays on the bench, and of course this is where he's confused. Drake is saying, it seems those pieces that you have in your body seems to be corrupting you from the inside. This is where, Issei says, what do you mean? This is where, the 8 chess pieces. I don't know how, but somehow they're trying to kill you. But luckily for you, your dragon powers are mostly helping you. But at the same time, I don't know how you can much last longer. So, we're going to have to figure out how to, take them out, or mostly ask Azo to kind of get them out. This is where Issei said, yeah, this is where, Drake says, you need to hide because just clearly people are coming towards the, in your weakened state, mostly to the park, in your weakened state. You're going to be an easy target and you can easily die. So hide. This is where Issei decided to hide. Of course, in his weakened state, Drake managed not to put that much of a powerful seal barrier, but of course he managed to just, be alive. This is where, Issei, that was right now kind of sitting down and waiting until these people just pass by and not sense him and being in this bush. But yeah, in this bush, and of course where Issei is hearing these words of these females. There's a couple of them kind of walking past, but of course he actually understands all these females' voices. One sounds kind of like Ozzy's voice. Another sounds like Irina's voice. Another sounds like Koneko's voice. Barely even talking. But of course, another one feels like Zenia's voice and Raffle's voice. But yeah, and this is where they're all talking kind of smack about Issei and how they kind of have their own boyfriends and things to Rias and other things and blah, blah, blah. Now, Drake is more horrified. The other girls are legit just cheating on Issei, even though they swore to Issei that they'll stay with him together and blah, blah, blah. But literally, just straight up admitting they're cheating on him. This is where, even though they don't see, Issei being there. This is where, also telling him that he's a perv, loser, and other things. And the only good quality he has was being nice. And being also good kind of me shield and blah, 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 and having the power of the Red Dragon Emperor. But that's the only thing he has in quality. Other than that, he doesn't really have physical strength, not being any smart, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, Issei was just horrified, shocked to his core. Right now, his skin was turning palish a little bit, but yeah. This is where, for some reason, his lips started becoming drier. His hair started becoming a darkish blue for a little bit, but yeah. But of course, we go into Issei kind of, well, walking away after that. Well, trying to. He got up and tried to walk away. But of course, he felt like he wanted to say the name of I am the dragon, blah, blah, blah. Which, I think the line goes like, Issei started chanting the words, I who am about to awaken, am the heavenly dragon who's stolen the principle of domination. He was about to say all that until Drake managed to stop him. But of course, a very powerful aura started erupting from him. Mostly a little bit darker, but of course, Issei then felt kind of unconscious, but of course, he still managed to get to his house. Now, that's all was in a flashback. Mostly that all happened about, well, mostly a month ago, but yeah. Of course, during the whole month, he's been trying to get people's contact and information and trying to just basically get help. Now, he has what's called these black spots that kind of feel kind of red also. And of course, they're legit trying to kill his life force. And Issei, he has no one. Literally, no one wants to help him. Not the girls. No one literally in the whole entire, what's it called, 3 faction or anything. He contact Michael. He contact Azo. He contact, well, what's it called, Sir Zach. But no one's legit answering his calls or anything. Now, of course, Issei realized that he gotta give up. No one in his, well, no one at all is trying to help him. He tries to ask Sanji for help, like mostly it's like best perverted friend. But of course, he found out one thing about Sanji. He ain't like a homie that he could trust. Mostly because Sanji is going out with Koneko and Raffle. This is where, well, he was actually just shocked. And when Issei managed to kind of try to see if he would tell him the truth, even though Issei was kind of covered up with a lot of things, like a jacket, because he just had to lie saying that he had a coat. Sanji barely even glances to him and says that he needs to go real fast, but yeah, he needs to go somewhere. And Issei never kind of, well, he did ask if he's dating anyone, and Sanji lies saying that he doesn't date anyone, but yeah. Issei was shocked. He felt betrayed by Sanji. This is where, well, the other people that were dating, mostly Irene or any of the other girls, were kind of just these other people, and they felt like they did have sacred gears, but of course Issei didn't care. This is where Issei realized that half of the other guys seemed to be much more good looking than him, and realized that they probably even had a better grasp in their sacred gear, even though their sacred gear was nothing to, well, kind of be praised at, because half of their sacred gear was kind of fucking useless. One of the sacred gears was legit just giving someone's boost by a tiny amount, and he had to wait for hours for his boost to kind of come. But yeah, Issei says, really? I got replaced by these people? Seriously? And he noticed that they weren't perverts, but they were really fucking greedy in their eyes. Issei said, wow, even though I wasn't that greedy, but whatever. But we go back into Issei. Issei got up from his bed. Of course, he still feels his life force is being taken away by the pieces. This is where Drake says, Issei, we need to do something. Issei says, yeah, I'm going to fucking give up on this whole life. This is where Drake says, no, not that way. This is where Issei says, why not? Why should I care too much about this world? Issei's hair has been becoming much more paler. Actually, it's become a light brown. A very light brown. And of course, this is where, well, he has just become much more paler. Also, his skin has become much paler. But his life force is going down, but being regenerate. This is where he's feeling much more scratchy around his neck. And of course, this is where Drake has been trying to cover down, well, what's it called? Issei with his anxiety and other stuff, but of course that won't work. This is where, well, Issei is going to actually literally just give up now. He fucking hates this world. He told Drake that he apologized, but literally he can't do anything. This is where Issei decides to go towards what's it called, mostly the middle of the town, mostly middle of Kuo town. And of course, people are just kind of looking at him. Now, of course, he's palish, sickly, and other things. And of course, he doesn't care. He legit has a gun in his pocket, has mostly his black clothing, it's kind of ragged and other things, black pants, and, well, black shirt, well, coat mostly, black shirt underneath, but yeah. He has what's called these fingerless gloves, and of course, mostly these fingerless black gloves, and mostly he's wearing sandals. And of course, he's thinking of shooting himself. This is where he felt kind of weak and fell down to the ground. And legit felt like his life force is dying off. He's been calling everyone, but no one really answer him. And this is where, well, he says, screw this life. Screw everyone. I hate everything. Drake says, Issei, calm down. No, Drake. I wish in your next life you have a stronger partner. I'm weak. I'm nothing but a pathetic weakling. This is where Issei was about to shoot himself, which he does. He kind of puts a gun towards his head, and Drake says, no, Issei. This is where everyone saw this, but no one really paid attention. And Issei shot himself. Of course, everyone thought it was a fake gun, but when they heard the shot, everyone was stunned and looked straight towards Issei. This is where Issei has the bullet in his head. But we go into Issei falling unconsciously. He's already dead. Something already told him. Well, mostly he heard a voice. Seriously, you're giving up? You'd rather give up than send this world to straight to hell? Figuring all the pain and suffering you suffer. You'd rather just give up when you truly have the power to send them all down to their knees? Destroy them with the power you have? Huh. I can't believe my reincarnation is just pathetic. This is where, well, Issei turns around and sees a white-haired man right now with these crimson red eyes. His skin is kind of ashy and wrinkly and kind of fucked up. His, well, mostly dried at the same time. His clothing are all kind of like, well, mostly he looks like this, having a red coat behind him and a black tight suit. Of course, a black shoes. This is where the person shows, well, one of his hands out, like kind of, like shows it towards Issei. Now his hand seems to be kind of having this black glove. This is where he says, I literally would give you the power to change the world. Would you take it or not? His hair is right now covering his eyes, but yet blowing into the wind, even though there's no wind. The ground underneath Issei seems to be kind of decaying and being destroyed. Issei looks at this man. This is where, well, he gets up and starts walking towards this man. Issei's hair has become much more paler than normal. His hair, mostly the tips of his hair, started becoming white. And when Issei was getting closer, his hair is fully turning white. This is where, well, Issei grabs this man's hand. And of course, this is where power transmitted into Issei. Now, we go back into the outside. Issei stands up, even though there's a hole in his head. This is where he spits out a bullet from his mouth. Issei, that hole in his head, mostly in his hair became fully white. The bullet hole right now just disappears in an instant. This is where, well, Drake was confused. He thought he would lose his host. This is where he closed his eyes but felt his host coming back to life. This is where, well, Issei's eyes becomes a crimson red and say, screw this world and it's every single person in this fucking world. Issei touches the ground in an instant, crouches down and touches the ground in an instant. This is where, well, I'm gonna show you how it would have went, but yeah. This is where, well, purple lines started spreading from Issei. This is where, well, these purple lines were going all around, well, what's it called, the city, mostly around him. Started destroying everything, destroying, decaying every single thing that was standing in these purple lines view an area. This is where everyone tries to run away. People that were supernatural beings and other things, fallen angels, and even devils that actually did came to Cool Town because they thought it was a cool town. But no, this is where, well, some of them tried to fly up, but some of them didn't manage to get lucky. This is where, well, the lines are spreading, destroying everything in this path. This is where, well, all they heard was the laughter. Just hearing this crazy, maniacal kind of laughter. This is where, well, the decaying is destroying every single thing in town. Destroying buildings, crashing them down, destroying them at once, turning them to dust. This is where, well, while everyone is seeing this, mostly the devils, angels, and fallen angels are horrified to see such a destructive sight. Everyone is trying to run away, but people are dying left and right, left and right. This is where, well, mostly everyone who was, mostly some devils tried to contact Sir Jackson, mostly fallen angels tried to contact Azael, but other things. But of course, where, well, mostly Michael felt a disturbance in Kua Town, also Azael and even Sir Jax, while being called. even what's it called, Rios and the others felt the disturbance of very powerful mana actually exploding from Issei, because even though he was awoken back again to becoming the destroyer of this whole world, instead of being a hero, he's the destroyer. He will bring destruction. This is where, well, when what's it called, the dust disappears, and well, there was a lot of dust, and what's it called, when Rios and her Parage and even Kiba got to the site to hear where it be at, it wasn't in the middle actually, it was kind of near the edge, but other than that, mostly a mountain would destroy also. This is where, well, when the others managed to get to the edge of the smoke kind of just dissipating, all they see in the middle is a white-haired man. His hairstyle being similar to that of Shigaraki's, but at the same time having his hairstyle similar to Issei Hiro. This is where, well, his face structure is similar to Issei Hiro's face, but of course it's much more drier, but yet much more paler. This is where, well, his eyes show to be a crimson red. His hand, that's right now a left hand, seems to be a darker purple. Seems that he couldn't resist the power. But of course his body seems to be much more physical now. He's wearing black ragged clothes, but this is where a red coat kind of flies down because it did kind of decay someone who had a red coat. It was mostly a supernatural being that was kind of a, well, vampire. He grabs it and puts it on. This is where, well, all they see is this man standing right now in the middle, laughing like a madman. This is where, well, someone actually kind of came to the destruction of Kuotown, but of course he was just winding his eyes to see so much destruction. Right now he's covered in this white armor and having these bluish wings. He kind of went next to Azu because Azu was down there, mostly downer in the lower level but flying. This is where when the others, Rios Parage and even Sona's Parage, managed to get there, they're confused. The males and Rios, well, mostly boyfriend and other things. This is where the other boyfriends were actually seeing this. This is where they see a man standing there right now laughing like a madman. A crater around him, mostly he's right now on top of this huge kind of rubble. Mostly this like huge kind of mountain thing or hill thing. And of course, where when he glances towards those people that were over there, Issei is laughing like a madman. Drake is trying to calm down Issei. Now, of course, he wasn't expecting Issei to have this much power, to just kill innocents without a care in the world. Issei says, "Shut up, Drake. Do you not see? I was chosen to be the destroyer of this world. I am the true chaos being. No one else." Right now, Issei is laughing like a madman. A man that just escaped. What's it called? Well, prison. A man who just escaped death. A man who will now become the destroyer of this world has awakened. This is where, well, he touches the ground with his left hand again. This is where red energy appears. His eyes are glowing. And this is where he explodes from that hill, destroying the hill and right now launching himself straight towards the others. This is where, well, he shows off his palm. And this is where he has a hole in the middle. And this is where he says, "Air push." Where he says, "Air palm. Oh, universally push." This is where an air push just sent straight towards his hand, right now launching straight towards everyone that was right now in front of him, trying to destroy them in an instant. This is where everyone tries to get away. Even Volley was winding his eyes. This is where all behind them was just this long line of destruction. This is where Issei didn't care about the innocent people that live in Kuotown. He didn't give two fucks. All he cared was the destruction. The pain that he felt must go onto the pain that should be on everyone. Everyone should feel the pain that he went through. The pain, the suffering, the hatred. This is where the 8 palms that are still in his body were actually decay. When he actually used that power, he actually decayed them in an instant and absorbed just the power of it. This is where, well, the power of the devil power. Because you see here, it might have absorbed the kind of, well, absorbed them but destroyed them at the same time. But yeah, mostly the power was absorbed. But Issei is no longer a devil. Instead, he's a human. An actual destruction human. He will no longer listen to the stupid rules of a stupid, spoiled brat devil. He is his own his own person. The only thing he cares about in this world is destruction, decaying everything, destroying everything. That's all he cares about. He doesn't care about anyone's rules. He doesn't give a fuck if it's God or non-God rules. He only cares about himself. But of course, with those words, Issei kind of launches straight towards Azel. This is where, well, not even Azel. He kind of dodges Azel and the others and rushes towards Reyes, right now trying to decay her. This is where Reyes winds her eyes. This is where Surzax appears, saying, I will not let you dare touch her. This is where mostly Gracie appears with an ice wall, right now blocking Issei's view, but of course, right now freezing him also. This is where Issei winds his eyes. This is where, well, all of them were kind of looking at this person. Issei grit his teeth. Even though he was stuck in frozen ice and supposed to be frozen there, everyone saw their horrified eyes when they saw his eyes move. Right now, just glaring and digging holes into Reyes, and Reyes doesn't understand why. This is where, well, Issei was right now in rage. This is where his body starts shaking, right now erupting, right now exploding with these blue flames, exploding from the ice, and saying, cremation burn! Poof! His hand exploded with these powerful blue flames, launching straight towards Surzax and Reyes. This is where Gracie couldn't even block her with her eyes. This is where Surzax had to use a very powerful barrier magic spell. This is where his magic spell was almost destroyed also. This is where, well, Azel says, who the hell are you, brat? This is where, well, Issei chuckles, right now looking at what's it called, Surzax and Azel. This is where, well, everyone is confused. Of course, they're on guard. They're hugely on guard because this person just came out of nowhere, destroyed almost half of Cool Town, and this is where Issei chuckled. With this maniacal laugh. I see, so you all forgot about who I am. And about only a couple of months since the last time you saw me. Well, good to know that people like you forget about me. Let me shake your memories then. Boosted gear. This is where the boosted gear appears. A red gauntlet with a green gem in the middle of that red gauntlet. This is where everyone horrified their eyes. This is where you all hear the command, boost! This is where, well, boost times 50. This is where, well, Issei right now, his flames combusted into his body. But this is where the blue flames they mostly heard the command, transfer! This is where the flames just erupt into these white flames. And Issei says, who am I? I am the destroyer of this world. I am the ruler and destruction. I will send everyone into nothing but despair and destruction, just like how I felt. Now die! White flame hell? Well, white flame of annihilation! He smashes his hands down to the ground, and this is where a white flame, a ring appear around and destroying everything that was near him in just a couple of mile radius, destroying and melting down the floor. This is where, well, Issei stands on top of the small hill again, but of course everything around him was just melted for miles and miles away. But of course, this is where, well, that didn't kill them because they managed to fly, well, mostly teleport. Because they realized if they fly, even the air on top of them felt very overheated. And of course, this is where, well, someone really couldn't teleport, and that was none other than, well, mostly Volley. Volley felt the heat, and his armor felt like it was melting, but he was using Divide, trying to get rid of the magic. This is where, well, Volley was right now in the sky and just horrified to see his rival. Right now with this power. The power of destruction, decay, and other elements. But the crazy look, instead of the hero look that he always had, and always that kind of lustful look, but it was kind of funny. But of course, because he was a weird kind of person, but instead of seeing his rival with that look, he had the look of despair, hatred, destruction, malice, ruling over this world. That's all he cared about this world now. He didn't care about anyone. And the most important thing, that he actually attacked Reyes first. This is where, well, Volley doesn't understand, but this is where Issei turns around and sees those regular humans This is where Issei starts walking towards them. This is where, well, one of them activates, well, all of them activates their sacred gear. Even Sanji was there. This is where Sanji says, damn, does he know? No. Shit. This is where, well, he doesn't know about the other humans, but Sanji's running. This is where Issei said, you people were the ones to make my life despair then. This is where, well, he says, I shall annihilate you all at once. This is where, well, Issei appears right in front of them. This is where before the others, most of the other girls can actually react fast enough, Issei swing his hand once, and of course this is where his nails extended pretty damn long, and this is where he says, you people shall die. He swings his hands once, right now ripping them to pieces. Without a care in the world. This is where Sanji might have been a little bit further, but of course his back was scratched. And of course his spine was actually managed to be clawed out. This is where, well, Sanji falls down and can't even move his back no more. He's paralyzed. But of course, this is where, well, he tries to look behind him, and Issei is walking towards him with this evil, sinister grin. Issei says, where do you think you're going, Sanji? We're still not done. This is where, well, Issei did kind of stab these, like, what's it called, black rods upon what's it called, the others. And this is where he absorbed a red light from them. And this is where, well, it came into his body. This is where Issei grins. He now stole the sacred gears from the others. Those 5 people. This is where Issei says, come here, Sanji, let me help you out. Issei grabs Sanji from the forehead and of course started absorbing his sacred gear in the 5 pieces of the Dragon King. This is where, well, he absorbed them all, and of course Sanji's head decayed in an instant. Issei is laughing like a madman. This is where he looks at Vali and says, oh, Vali, your sacred gear is delicious. I might want to have it. Don't worry. Am I the only one to be able to take other sacred gears? Hell the fuck yes. And when I have all the sacred gears, I will send this world to nothing but despair. I'll take the Longitis sacred gears. I won't give a fuck if they're weak or not. I am the true ruler of this world. I was born to rule this world out of destruction, fear, and despair. Issei is laughing. This worked well. Vali won his eyes when he saw that Issei easily took those kind of 5 people's sacred gear out of them. Issei is now more dangerous than ever when he literally can take Longitis and sacred gears now out of people's body. And yes, he is absorbing the soul out of the people, or well, not soul, he's mostly taking the sacred gear. Not the soul, just the sacred gear. But yeah, Issei is now just laughing at, well, Vali, and this is where, well, Issei feels his body cracking because he doesn't know how much power he's been using. This is where Issei says, but until then, Vali, I hope you become the hero of this story. You surely were a terrorist, but maybe you can change. Maybe you can stop me. Who knows? Maybe I don't want to be stopped. Maybe I want to send this world into nothing but fear and destruction. Also, I should also say one thing. Screw the marriage between me and Rhea Scremery. That ain't never going to fucking happen ever again. I distrust so many whores in my life. I distrust everyone. But before I disappear, this is where Issei makes a black ball and launches it somewhere. Issei says, fuck them family members I had. This is where, well, the black ball landed somewhere. Right now destroying a huge house and people inside it. 2 people that were right now kind of happy to have daughters. And of course, even though their useless son could have done anything, still waiting for grandkids. This is where the black ball smashes through the window and it exploded. This is where it exploded the whole building, destroying 2 parents. 2 parents that thought their child was useless. Useless and couldn't absolutely do nothing about their daughters. This is where, well, Issei laughs and there's a black portal still next to him. This is where Issei says, but other than that, I will be leaving, Vali. Bye. This is where, well, Issei is laughing like a madman. The black portal right now, well, appeared. But of course, when Issei walks through it, it disappears. This is where everyone winds their eyes to the horrifying power of Issei Hyodo. No, Issei said that his name is no longer Issei Hyodo, but Shigaraki Tomura. And of course, everyone widened their eyes with the name. Such a feared name. No longer the young, kind boy that believed that he will protect everything. Now it's a true murderer. A murderer of thousands of innocent people. A destroyer. A despair and fear bringer. He is no longer the kind, gentle Red Dragon Emperor. No, he is now the destroyer of everything. He wants to bring down the three factions now. He wants to bring down everything down to its knees, and he will become the ruler. They don't understand, but they now have to question Rias and her barrage. Kiba was the most distraught in his life to see his best friend, no, his brother, mostly his brother that he mostly trained with, became a villain, a destroyer, a mostly kind of thrill seeker. Thrill seeker. I guess you can say that, but pretty much Issei wasn't like that. He wasn't, and yet he killed the kind of 5 new boyfriends from not Eris, Rias and the others kind of barrage mates. There's new ones that they were trying to get experience or whatever. But of course, he widened his eyes. He could never see the man that he actually got help by, mostly thanks to his revenge. No longer whatever he sees the kind young nice friend that he ever had, but instead will see the person who actually seeks revenge on his life. Well, mostly the life he was changed by forcibly, thanks to Rias. Yes, Issei is going after revenge. Or not really, he's mostly wanting destruction and revenge on everyone, but yeah. But other than that, I think I'm gonna leave it off here for one shot of this what if. Yes, I'm gonna just leave it off for a one shot. Now, of course, I know so many people might say, no, you should continue it on. I might just do a one shot until I read further into the manga, but other than that, I am going to leave it off here. This is a one shot, but other than that, bye. Yep, bye bye.